how it begins, and what sparked your passion for this field.
My first experience was excited because in 6 years I had to implement a governance framework for data management in a mid-sized company.
What inspired you to develop this framework?
I investigated Google. I found the knowledge areas of capabilities that must be implemented for any data-related initiatives.
In your 16 years of experience, and what was the challenging one?
I would really like to share my best example experience when implementing a governance framework for very large international organization.
Right now, they are focusing much on AI readiness, that is fixing their data quality.
In all my methodology, I show the data quality is the capability that is dependable on many others. Yeah.
Hello everyone. In this edition of the Executive Outlook, we are joined by Irina, Managing Director of Data Crossroads and creator of the Orange Data Management Framework. With over 13 years in the field of data management, she is an expert author and coach helping leaders build practical and scalable data strategies. Welcome, Irina.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your podcast.
So I'm very excited to hear your journey into the data management, how it begins, and what sparked your passion for this field.
Oh, it's a very interesting question because my first professional background is civil engineering and I have my PhD in reinforced concrete constructions. Then I moved to the area of companies restructuring, got my MBA in finance, and I got also practical experience in ERP implementation. So finally, these three areas of expertise brought me to data management 16 years back, where I started from scratch, no idea what data management was, having no idea that Demo, for example, existed. And my first experience was excited because in 6 years I had to implement a governance framework for data management in a mid-sized company. So all my journey started there, and by now, as you mentioned, I'm author of 5 books where I shared all of my experience. Why I am excited working in this area? It's very simple, because every day you may expect something new. So it's never repeated. You face challenges every day, but it's also very interesting to see how the industry has developed for the last year. So this is one of the reasons why I stay here and why I actively participating in developing the knowledge in this area.
You mentioned about your books, and we know that you have also developed the Orange Data Management Framework.
Yeah.
So, how you come up with this framework, and what inspired you to develop this framework?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I started implementation of framework from scratch. So finally, the only what I did, I investigated Google. I found the knowledge areas of capabilities that must be implemented for any data-related initiatives. So for 6 years, I simply did the job and I implemented it myself. Only after that, I discovered Demo and the Demo framework. And at this point, I did realize some impracticalities or discrepancies in the industry's guidelines, especially with focus on implementation of complex data management capabilities. Because even on the page 38 of Demo, they stated that the current version of Demo doesn't cover the interrelationships between different knowledge areas. And I consider it as a big disadvantage of industry frameworks. That's why I decided, okay, I have my experience, and in order to explain how people should implement data management and share this experience, I need to create a model. So it was a first step in developing the Orange Data Management Framework. And by the way, the name Orange, it was like a joke, because I wanted to demonstrate that in the industry we have a lot of discrepancies between different frameworks. It's like comparing apples and pears, maybe. I decided my first article I wrote in such a way that I wanted to demonstrate that my framework is some sort of hybrid of already existing developments and my practical experience. And to my Surprise, orange, it's hybrid fruit. It doesn't exist in nature. So I simply made a joke, okay, what data measurement has in common with orange. And somehow it started developing as orange data measurement framework. But what is more interesting, later on, I spent several years in implementing data lineage. I started this exercise in 2018. And I also developed a methodology to demonstrate how companies can develop and implement data lineage as a business case of metadata management. And it took me maybe 3 years to formulate the dependencies between the implementation of governance frameworks with data lineage. Because I did realize that the same artifacts or outputs are required for both initiatives. So finally, this framework can be applied to any initiative because it covers several key goals of frameworks. First of all, it helps scope an initiative. Then it helps design the required data management or AI capabilities. Then it also helps develop or implementation approach and define implementation methodology. And simultaneously, all of these stages require two other capabilities. First of all, we need to measure performance and we need to measure maturity and progress. So finally, these five components are the core components of the Orange Data Management Framework. And the sixth, the latest components, is enabling of scalability and adaptability. So this is what the Orange Data Management Framework is about.
Amazing. So data challenges are there from a long while, but now it is coming with a structured approach. Like you recognize the data lineage, also the same things, the same artifacts, we can use it in the governance perspective. Like, we can connect that and collaborate between those, right? So if anyone is setting up the data infrastructure, what should be the step by step approach for them so that they can be ready with the AI capabilities later on and they don't have to rework on their infrastructure?
The first that they must do, they must forget for a second about technology and they must think what their business needs, what their business requirements. I call it in my methodology business drivers. Finally, why do we need this technology? Why do we need, what business do want to achieve? Yeah, what does business want to achieve? And this is the first step. You need to answer the question, why does business need it? Yeah. So the key business goals. The business goals or business drivers will define the enterprise scope, will define the stakeholders that might be involved. And only after that, you really can start scoping the initiative. Because here is the point. Any data or especially AI initiative is time and resource consuming. And organization must make it feasible. But to make it feasible, they must clearly define the feasible scope. And only after that, we can start thinking which technologies can solve these problems. This is the way how I see it.
That's an exciting point you have mentioned because sometimes we are so engaged with this is latest in the market. Let's explore this, and we don't know the actual use case which we need to solve.
And this is one of the challenges because you can solve the same problem using totally different technologies, especially now in the industry. We have a lot of solutions with similar functionalities, yeah, but they also can differ in pricing, they can differ in effectiveness, and it means there is no one solution that fits needs of every organization. But it also means that every organization must carefully think what they really need, what they want to achieve in terms of business, yeah, because this is what unfortunately I've seen a lot in my previous experience in ERP implementations as well as data management. Companies purchase solutions without thinking why they need it, yeah, and what a scope of the solution they need, and then the problems start.
And tell me some of the use cases which you have solved in your 16 years of experience, and what was the challenging one where you have learned a lot and you want to share it as a wisdom that, hey, let's do this. Always follow these best practices.
I would really like to share my best example experience when implementing a governance framework for very large international organization. They came to me several years back, I think 5 years back, On my question, what do you want or what do you have? They said, we have nothing and we want to have everything in 6 months. I discovered the coaching approach is the best for such companies because it helps organization immediately develop internal skills. Even working as a consultant, I also worked for the World Bank for years as a consultant. I learned one experience. I came to one conclusion. External consultants come and go, but at the same time, they must ensure that internal staff understands what they've done and we're able to continue this journey. That's why, in my experience, I only do coaching. I pick up people from zero experience and I start working together with them. So, finally, coming back to my example, the company in 6 months, we fully developed their governance framework, including policies and roles for core data management capabilities like data modeling, data and application architecture, data quality, and it helped them immediately improving the quality of data. I helped several companies to develop governance frameworks because of one reason. They wanted to improve their analytics or AI. So I've been approached by vice presidents accountable for analytics, not data management, not somebody else, only people from analytics came to me with question, we need to do something because we can't deliver what we must deliver. And another maybe very interesting case, I started working on data implementation of governance framework in decentralized architectures or hybrid architectures years back, when even there were no book about data mesh. So finally, it was also very interesting experience, and I shared it in one of my latest books, Data Management Toolkit 2.0, where I showed the differences in approaching in implementing governance and core data management capabilities for different architectures, centralized, decentralized, and hybrid. Because I am sure that almost every organization just now goes for some sort of hybrid architecture. So these are examples. And by the way, again, coming back to my first example, and it was I think it was one of the best results of all of this case, that the person who started the program or our project as simply a solution architect, after 1 year became a data governance director. So for me, it was one of their best examples how our coaching process can really help an organization to skill up their internal staff.
That's amazing. So, can you share a glimpse of it? For example, there are a lot of challenges that come, and people are not aware that the analytics can be very slow if they don't have a good data infrastructure. If they are not storing the data in the right way, how it can be analyzed by the analytics. So I think so. The entire process, what we do for data, is three ways we should be consuming the data. One through the exchange to other application, one for analytics, and another for AI. So if we are specifically talking about the analytics, that they are facing the slowness in the reports. As part of teaching, can you share a glimpse of it, that how you help the organization in order to overcome this challenge?
The first example, it starts very simple. It's even don't start with data management as well. One of my favorite questions when somebody comes and asks me, we need data management, we don't know how to convince our management about it. I ask very simple question. Do you know how many reports do you have? And very often nobody knows. And this is the first step in improving analytics, yeah, because still many organizations just now think in terms of reports, especially written reports. And the problem is that these reports, first of all, they require a lot of manual interventions. They require a lot of internal job to be done, which is very inefficient. They also create a lot of troubles in delivering data, because what I've seen multiple times, the same reports, different reports provide the same, for example, key performance indicators with totally different values, simply because the data storages are not aligned. And this is exactly what you're doing, yeah, aligning technologies, aligning data pipelines and deliverables. And this is very important. This is the starting point of improving data analytics. Another point is aligning data and definitions. I also can share one of the examples. Years back, I joined one presentation of one company that demonstrated a huge investment project for building analytics pipeline where they use totally different streams, streaming, blah, 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 a lot of investments. And I did ask, and they showed how they built models based on it. I asked very simple question. Do you have data dictionary on there behind all of these chains? And they answered, we didn't come so far. For me, it was one question. You pick up data, you're not sure that the data shows the same. You build models, and what would be the results? Yeah. What is the trustfulness of your data? So finally, this is also one of the very simple principles. Before building analytics, an organization must create a data management foundation. I can also share with some results. I was very much shocked. Several months back, I performed the same poll on LinkedIn about their data governance and AI governance. And the biggest challenge for implementing data governance, and it was about 50 or 60% that respondent answered that the implementation of data management, data governance has low priority, lower organizational priority. For AI initiatives, it was only 25. And my question was, data management 50%, AI 25%. But how can you think to implement AI without having foundational background? You can't do anything. And this is one of the challenges I think such companies as yours could bring to your customers, without really building foundation. And here it's also the point, maybe not all companies must have the same solid foundation. Everything depends on solutions. Everything depends on the needs and resources, but you can do something. Even using very simple solutions already can help improve data or describe data in order to deliver some results in data analytics.
I have been into a conference in MIT University, so they have organized that thing. So what they were talking about why data is important. First, data management, data quality, and then comes the AI. So what I have seen the trend, lot of projects got failure because they don't have a good data quality. And now many of people have learned the lessons from that, and right now they are focusing much on AI readiness, that is fixing their data quality, making a dictionary, making sure that everything is consistent, and then maybe in the future they will start with the AI project. So this is what I have gotten as a takeaway from that symposium.
This is one of their misunderstanding to think that data quality can be implemented by itself. And I think it came also from them at the book, because they simply selected one knowledge area, data quality, and they even didn't provide the relationships of data quality with other capabilities. In all my methodology, I show the data quality is the capability that is dependable on many others. You need to have input from governance, defining roles, who does what. You need to have input from data modeling and data architecture. You need to know your models, you need to define the data, you need to know data flows. You must have input from metadata management. Without having data lineage in place, you can hardly follow up back the data quality issues. So finally, that's why when I speak about data management, data quality finally is the result of properly implemented core data management capabilities. And I fully agree with you. I comes only after that.
Exactly. That's definitely the right way to do it. And that's the outcome everyone wants, and that is like combination of all the efforts we are making, and then it's out. All right. That's great. I'm very enjoying, very much enjoying the conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So tell me, what qualities do you believe are essential for the leadership in the leadership roles, basically in the data areas?
Unfortunately, in the data management area of expertise, many people have experience only in one part without having this overview of relationships. I was very fortunate because I started my first project being simply one in the company, and I did everything myself. Yeah, so I learned everything from scratch by doing stuff. But if somebody is specializing in governance, they may overlook metadata management importance, or they may not think about maybe, I don't know, data modeling. And this is one of the key skills that are required for leadership, to have this helicopter view. The second, what I would say, is communication, because data management is mainly about properly communicating with your stakeholders and finding the proper way. Because I experienced a lot of challenges with that as well. If I brought people on the table with purpose to discuss some problem, sometimes we couldn't reach the result by one reason: they couldn't speak with each other. But then they said, if you come to me, if you can explain on my table what I need to do, I will do it for you. And this is one of their key points, yeah, finding proper communication that depends on the company's culture. And the third one, I would say, it's goal orientation. Because let me be very honest, I doubt about their ability of agile methodology deliver the results. For me, it always must be a combination of smart project management with agile style. Project management ensures long-term goals, and agile style helps implement it.
All right. So you have worn many hats: consultant, author, speaker, trainer. So how do these roles complement each other in your work?
Oh, it's very simple. If you take a look at my profile, I am practitioner. Because the way how I do it, first of all, I need to do it myself. When I know how to do it, I must create models here. And in this case, it's my book writing, it's my model development. But when I've done it, I need to share my knowledge with somebody, and then training and coaching comes. So for me, there is no coaching, consulting, and training taken as separate areas of expertise. They are all work together. It's like combination. Because let's take a look, for example, writing a policy is a consulting, but I can do it without explaining people what I'm going to do, what the models behind. But in order to achieve results, we must do it together.
And this goes hand in hand. Totally aligned. Yeah. All right. So I think thank you so much for sharing your hands on wisdom and practical approaches to data management. And your Orange framework is definitely a valuable guide for every data leader who is trying to set up the data structure or who is juggling to have the good data framework in their organization. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Isha, for inviting me. It was really very pleasant and a fruitful conversation for both of us, I think. And
Yeah.
I wish you and your company success in the future.
Thank you so much.